Hello friends, this is Javi Mandan. Welcome to the Samsung Wave II review. The Wave II is a very nicely built phone, very solidly built, just like the Wave I with the metal body. This will really last a long time. The hardware is almost exactly the same as the Wave I. The buttons here are different. They have a slightly softer touch, which a little less clicky, which feels in my opinion nicer than the original Wave, just slightly nicer to press. The main difference, or the only difference in the hardware, is of course the screen, which is 3.7 inches Super LCD compared to the 3.3 inch Super AMOLED. We'll look at those screens a bit more in a second, but just to continue with the hardware, the Wave 2 is quite a big phone. It's actually longer and thicker than the Galaxy S, which of course has a 4-inch screen. Comparing it to the Defy, which has the same 3.7 inch screen, it's really a lot bigger. It's a lot bigger, and the screen is the same size. Well, in fact, the Defy screen is 2mm longer and 2mm narrower. So the Wave is actually 2mm shorter, 2mm wider, but both 3.7 inches. It does feel good in the hand, although it's not easy to operate one-handed. It's not easy to send an SMS walking down the street one-handed. So the size of the phone is a matter of personal taste, I think. The screen is very impressive. Super LCD, if we compare directly to the Super AMOLED, the screen is very close to the surface of the glass, which makes it look like the image is on the glass, just like the Super AMOLED, which is a really pleasant look to the screen. If we compare that to the LCD of the Motorola, if we look at it head on, then it's very, very similar, the screen. The colour, the contrast is very similar. I have all of these phones on 20% brightness at the moment. But as soon as we drop the viewing angle, the Motorola screen starts to wash out, and you can see the difference there. If we increase the viewing angle, we can see the Motorola LCD starts to lose the viewing possibility there, and the other two stay very sharp. In fact, the viewing angle on these two phones is almost exactly the same. The Super AMOLED, of course, does have blacker blacks, which we can see from the menu. It might be a bit difficult to see there, in fact, because the LCD is very good. But the LCD does have whiter whites, so again, it's a matter of personal taste, I think, there. I have found a couple of strange things with the Wave 2. One is this strange bug, which means the lock screen, which should be like this, same as the wallpaper, is actually, if you play around with it a bit, it gets stuck on another one and is not the same as the wallpaper. Also, I have here 10 or 11 widgets, and I am experiencing some memory problems when trying to just change. Let's say we stick some widgets on, and We get memory warnings to close widgets. This comes pre-installed with about 16, 17 widgets. I'm using all of them apart from 3. They're all Samsung pre-installed, so it shouldn't really be a memory warning just using Samsung's own widgets. I have absolutely no applications running at all. So take one off and it's okay. One thing I have noticed about this phone, which is running Badder 1.2, is the speed, which we can demonstrate by changing themes on both of these phones. If we change the default theme to exactly the same and see how fast they go. They both have 1 GHz processors. The battery life, and there the Wave II is finished already. The battery life has been very similar. Officially, Samsung give standby time figures the same. Talk time slightly less for the Wave II, but I found in use that they've been very similar batteries. So for me, and there we go, we've just finished there. For me, the battery lasts a good 2 days with average use. So we see there the Wave II is about 3 times faster there, changing the theme. This is running JID software, the Wave I, which is the last full unofficial 1.2 software, which may not be the fastest, but still the Wave II much faster. More things I like about the Wave II is the keyboard. It has a really great keyboard, we can see. This is, of course, is the continuous input swipe keyboard, which works really nicely, and very big keyboard there. If we compare it to the swipe keyboard in the Motorola, we will see that it's a lot bigger. In this portrait we see it's a lot bigger than the swipe on the Motorola. Very easy to use. Only criticism here of the keyboard is the placing of the send key. Normally I put the contact in last just to avoid any accidental sends, which is very easy to do when it's placed there. Other nice improvements from the Wave I are the calendar, which now looks like this, whereas in the Wave I we have this kind of interface, especially for the Super AMOLED, the black interface. I think I prefer the white. They haven't got rid of the annoying calendar, not really a bug, just way of behaving, where if you put in a time which is later than the end time, it doesn't change it for you. It just gives you a kind of warning to change the time, which again is a little irritation and could have easily been fixed, I think. Now, everything software-wise is the same as the Wave I, the unofficial 1.2. That means the Facebook client is the same, the Twitter client is the same. They are basic. If you're someone who is a heavy user of Facebook and Twitter, I don't think you're going to be satisfied with those. And the browser, instead of improving, has actually, in my opinion, got worse. You have this bottom toolbar which you can't get rid of, which takes up some of the screen. If we go to, let's say, a page, we can see it doesn't load very fast actually. This is over HSPA. It should be fast. The speed's not particularly impressive, and we'll see when it's finished loading. The pinch to zoom is smooth. Still loading there. Okay. You get to see quite a lot of checkerboard. It's not very fast scrolling and quite a lot of checkerboard there, which is very disappointing, seeing as they've had this browser in development for the last year at least. And of course, every time you touch the screen, the address bar pops up, which gets to be very irritating as well. The text flow, no, still doesn't work. You can text flow to portrait mode, and it's too small to see. Oh, it's loading the link now. Or you can text flow to landscape mode, which is okay, but still not the best. We won't wait for that. So, disappointing browser, most definitely. The GPS signal from cold got a lock in about 4.5 minutes, and after that got a lock in between 10 and 20 seconds very quickly. So once it has locked once, the GPS performance seems to be very good. The call quality, like the Wave I, is very good as well, very nice and clear. The music playing is the same as the Wave I. The camera and video is the same as the Wave I. What that means is, out of the box, you're getting a very good, solid, all-round performing phone that does everything above average. As I said, if you want a lot of functionality in your Facebook, Twitter and IM, which it doesn't really have very much of, then you might be disappointed. And of course it doesn't have the full Flash 10 in the browser. But on a general basis, out of the box, it does everything very well. It's a very well made phone, and the screen is very nice indeed. Thank you.